Now, live from the Patriot Detroit Radio Complex, this is the John McCulloch Show.
But first, we want to start with This Week in Russiagate.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Tom Friedman said the election hacking is at the caliber of a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree with that.
This cloud about collusion with Russia will hang over him no matter where he stands.
And that cloud disappearing pretty quick. And now that evidence has come to light that Hillary Clinton colluded with the Kremlin in this Uranium One deal, most of the media has gone suspiciously silent.
Now, here's John.
And welcome into an Open Mouth Friday edition of the McCulloch Show here on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. Glad you could join us for the fastest hour of local Detroit talk radio, where your host continues serving his life sentence in reality. Be advised here, all lives matter. There is no political correctness. There are no safe zones for the snowflakes, and you will be triggered if you are triggerable. Lots to talk about tonight on Open Mouth Friday. You know the rules. You dial 800-923-9385 or 800-923-WDTK. That's the same number, by the way. And you get on the air and you talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And that's within reason, of course. We don't talk about other hosts or other stations, that kind of thing. And just use your head. It's a family show, and we keep that in mind. And other than that, no holds barred. There's a lot to talk about, obviously, most of it political. But if you have something personal you want to share, that's perfectly okay, too, if you think it would be interesting to the rest of the audience. Now, I say this when we get into the football season. We begin early at 5:30, around 5:30, to make way for the Catholic High School football pregame show, which comes on at 6:30. There are some people who, because of listening habits and when they get out of work and so forth, don't realize that we're on now with Open Mouth Friday, and so now is the good time to call, because the real rush hits right at 5 minutes after 6 when people are expecting, you know what I'm saying, so the time to call is now. A couple things I want to throw in. First of all, here's how they're going to dodge out of the, or try to, it's not working, how they're going to try to dodge out of the Russiagate thing. Presidential campaigns are big operations, and sometimes the left may not know what the right hand is doing. That's, of course, coming from Leon Panetta, who is trying to justify it. One other quick thing, you fans of English literature will be happy to know that Yale has decolonized their English department. And the decolonize is in quotes. And so English majors are no longer required to take the class that focuses on Chaucer, Shakespeare, Donne, Milton, Eliot, and many others. So when you come out of Yale with your PhD in English Lit, whoever that professor happens to be will not be schooled in those areas because it's not politically correct. They say that they had to decolonize it and get into more diversified courses because studying white authors actively harmed the students. Actively harmed the students. And before we get started, Tiffany, we have an old archive tape that we discovered, and we'd like to play that. It's 60 seconds long, and it's not going to take much time up for, but I want to make sure that you do hear this ancient tape that we pulled out of the archives, and see if you can guess who it's about.
He's brought us to the brink of nuclear war, obstructed justice at the FBI, and in direct violation of the Constitution, he's taken money from foreign governments and threatened to shut down news organizations that report the truth. If that isn't a case for impeaching and removing a dangerous president, then what has our government become? I'm Tom Steyer, and like you, I'm a citizen who knows it's up to us to do something. It's why I'm funding this effort to raise our voices together and demand that elected officials take a stand on impeachment. A Republican Congress once impeached a president for far less. Yet today, people in Congress and his own administration know that this president is a clear and present danger, who's mentally unstable and armed with nuclear weapons, and they do nothing. Join us and tell your member of Congress that they have a moral responsibility to stop doing what's political and start doing what's right. Our country depends on it.
So that archive tape, you can, I guess you could probably substitute or add the name of our immediately previous president in there. I'm not sure. But if you take all the things that were listed there and place them next to accomplishments, if you want to call them that, of our previous president, gosh, folks, they match up. They match up completely. So, Tom Steyer, you've made a complete fool of yourself, and we just wanted to make sure that you knew that. Okay, it's Open Mouth Friday. I want to talk to you, 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK, and we'll start things out with Charlie in Farmington here on the Patriot. Hi, Charlie, go ahead.
Hey, love your show. So, after your radio show that you focused on Nevada and the Las Vegas massacre, I did a little bit more research and came across an article that I thought your listeners would be really interested in hearing. This lady who was there and actually made it out completely alive, and then became very vocal towards saying that there was multiple shooters, and said that she and the 5 people that she was with all saw multiple shooters. She wrote a couple of blogs, mysteriously turned up dead a week later. So articles are out there. They've been written about this. Their family is now becoming more vocal about this. Just thought your listeners should know. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, where would I go to source that out?
Just Google "lady mysteriously dies week after massacre." There's a bunch of articles that'll come up.
Okay, I'll do it. Appreciate the tip, Charlie.
Yep, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's how Open Mouth Friday works, folks. It doesn't have to be. I mean, anything that you like, it's wide open. With the exception, as I said, of other radio hosts or other television hosts, unless I bring them up, and then it's okay. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. If you're just tuning in, we are starting early, as we do each Friday during football season, and we take the last half hour of Sean Hannity's show, and we devote it to you so that we can get the full hour of Open Mouth Friday in. And that's what we're doing now. Here's Janet in Garden City on the Patriot. Hi, Janet.
Hi, how are you tonight, John?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, just fine. I just want to say, one, I really hoping these tax cuts go through and the Senate really starts to take everything seriously. But going back after that, they really need to go back and to make sure that they still repeal and replace the Obamacare, because it's not just the Obamacare system. I'm sorry?
You go ahead.
I say it's not just the Obamacare that it affected. I work for an employer who is very, very generous, and we do not have to go to the, what do you call it? The
exchange?
Yes, to the exchange. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield, totally paid for by my employer. We don't even have anything taken out of our checks every week as paying for it, and I'm very, very fortunate for that. However, as soon as all these effects went into effect, they also federally mandated the change for the way regular insurance went, like the Blue Cross Blue Shield. I am accounts payable where I work, and they even have to where they age banded everybody. So before all the changes, before Obamacare even came into effect, if you wanted a plan and your employer paid for you, it was either you pay for your employer, the employee and spouse was one rate, and then the employee and family was another rate. Well, now it is age banded that each person's age, and it goes by, and I get the bill, they actually list every single person's age, and there's a different amount for each person. The amounts are staggering.
So everything is going up.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, we were aware of that, and there's been a lot of conversation about it. And yeah, they do need to get serious about it and quit fooling around and quit playing their swamp games and get to work for the American people. And I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you, Janet.
All right, you have a great Friday.
You do the same. And I'm already having a great Friday. I'm talking to you folks. Our telephone number, 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. We did jam up with some people who knew what was going on with the 5:30 start of the show. And if you called and you got a busy signal, I'm sorry, but you won't get one now. And we'll work our way up to the 6 o'clock hour when things will get really crazy. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. Open Mouth Friday on the McCulloch Show here on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. Well, surprise, surprise, folks. I'm sitting here now in my X chair. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you can see it. It is the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. As far as working, I can't imagine spending the whole day in this chair. It would be, I can see why people say it's so much more productive. It works with your posture the way no other chair I've ever sat in. And the number of adjustments is wild until you get it right to where you want it. It's a fantastic chair. It gives you improved concentration. The makers of X-Chair want you to feel this difference for yourself. And they made an offer to the listeners of this broadcast. And here's what we can do. Go to myxchair.com. Now, that's the letter X and then chair.com. And they're going to knock $100 off the price of the chair. And you're going to get a free footrest. Both those things happen when you use the promo code John. myxchair.com. Go there now. I love my X chair. You will too. I promise you're going to like it. myxchair.com, promo code John, and get sitting in your X chair as soon as you can.
Now, on-time traffic and weather on the Patriot.
You'll find some road construction closing down the left lane of 696 eastbound between 75 and Cousins. Traffic is stop and go from Greenfield Road as a result. Plan about a 15-minute delay here. You'll find an accident blocking the right shoulder of 275 northbound after Ann Arbor Road. Traffic is backed up all the way to Ford Road. Watch out for another accident blocking the left shoulder of 696 eastbound at Coolidge, causing some slowdowns there. Traffic is stop and go on M59 eastbound between DeQuinder and Van Dyke. You'll find stop and go traffic on 75 northbound between Square Lake Road and Baldwin. You'll also find stop and go traffic on 696 westbound between Telegraph and 96. And you'll find on 75 southbound between Big Beaver and 14 Mile, the left lane is closed due to road construction. Traffic is backed up all the way to Crooks. Your weather. Today, showers likely with the high of 59 degrees. Tonight, more showers with the low of 38. Tomorrow, chance of showers with a high of 47. Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 56 degrees. I'm Leanna Ray on the Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
Found out last night from the folks at AzerTech Public Adjusters that there's another area of concern for you business people out there that you better be careful of. You people in home businesses too. And that is cyber insurance. What if somebody captures your data and you can't get at it unless you pay a ransom? Do you have insurance on that kind of thing? Well, you can find out by asking the folks at AzerTech. They'd be happy to help you with whatever's in your policy. AzerTech Public Adjusters, they're the folks that go to work for you when you get into a claim situation with your insurance company, in property insurance at your home or business. They represent you to make sure you get the most out of the settlement that they come up with. They're experts at it. They do it every day. And believe me, they take a load off your mind when they come in to take over because they know where to go. They know what to do. Their number is easy. They're happy to talk to you about your policy, and they're great people. They're very generous with their time, and there's no charge for talking to them, believe me. AzerTech Public Adjusters, 855-CLAIM-55. That's 855-CLAIM-55. You wouldn't go to court without an attorney. Don't go to your insurance company in a claim situation without AzerTech Public Adjusters. 855-CLAIM-55, and please let them know John McCulloch sent you.
The John McCulloch Show is brought to you in part by Dr. Richard Klein at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute.
FM 101.5, AM 1400, The Patriot. This is Open Mouth Friday, and here's Bruce in Grosse Pointe Farms on The Patriot. Hi, Bruce.
Well, hi, John. Good evening, and thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I'm glad they got the remaining, well, not all the remaining documents from the Kennedy assassination released, but it kind of reminded me of some of the conspiracy theories that they have out there, like it was Castro and the mob, and the Russians and that type of thing. The Russians, where have you heard that before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there was some talk that the generals of the Kremlin, as well as the Politburo, were scared to death that we were going to put two and two together and conclude that and attack the Soviet Union over Kennedy's assassination. But Michael Betzloss, an author, wrote the book Kennedy and Khrushchev, The Crisis Years, 1960 to 1963. Fascinating book. Pointed out that there was really no danger of that happening because the investigations that they did over the next couple of years proved that the Russians themselves did not have any direct involvement in that. And also, another conspiracy theory I heard was that Kennedy was assassinated because he was getting ready to pull troops out of Vietnam, the advisors. But Betzloss writes that Kennedy had no intention of pulling troops out of Vietnam, John, that he was actually a Cold Warrior of the First Order, and we pretty well know that. He was very much in favor of confronting the Soviet Union. But I just thought that was very fascinating to have my memory jog like that.
Yeah, it's going to be jogged even more. There's more stuff coming out. He hasn't turned over everything.
And Michael Betzloss is not a conservative right-wing historian. He, in fact, he's comes more from the left side of the spectrum. He also wrote a book about the U-2 incident called May Day, which I thought was really a fascinating book too. So that's something that your listeners might want to check up on. I think the books are probably out of print, but they could check the library, check online, and it's fascinating reading, John. Very fascinating.
Thanks for the tip, Bruce. Have yourself a great night.
You too, sir. Stay warm.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say. 800-923-9385. It is Open Mouth Friday. Next in line is Tim in Westland on The Patriot. Hi, Tim. Go ahead.
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
It's been a while. I seem to recall the last time I may have talked to you, I was around talking about what happened to Bernie Sanders via the DNC and the whole shenanigans that went on there. And I had talked about the DNC. I think I may have asked you to maybe get a lawyer on and talk about, is it possible for the DNC to face RICO charges, racketeering, and their mail fraud because they were sending fundraising pamphlets out talking about them being a neutral party, but here they were totally against Bernie, and now look at what the DNC has done.
I believe that
seems like more stuff for the RICO charges.
Yeah, the RICO has come up more and more in talks that I've been privy to, and that I know about, and you could very definitely see some attempt made at under the RICO statute going.
Well, I will be surprised if anyone faces indictment, charges, or even goes to jail around any of this, because it seems that nobody in the swamp ever does go to jail.
Well, that used to be the case, Tim. But
one thing that just most recently, why is it that Bo Bergdahl is just now getting to the sentencing phase of his desertion, traitorous, whatever it was that he's done? I think he was a traitor, besides a deserter. And I say it was simply so the President of the United States did not get embarrassed by having the facts come out about Bo Bergdahl.
He knew the facts from the beginning. That's why it didn't come out until now. He knew the facts from the beginning. He needed somebody to trade those 5 killers, the 5 who released from Guantanamo. He needed somebody to use. That was the only person that was there. It didn't matter that he was a deserter or whatever he was. He just threw him in there and then put everything off until he's out, resting comfortably in his mansion 2 blocks from the White House. That was a set-up deal from the beginning, Tim. And, the American people should never forgive him for that, because there are Americans have died because of that decision. And so that there was no doubt from the beginning Bo Bergdahl was a traitor. Guys were killed looking for him when he deserted. And Obama knew that. When the book is finally written on the corruptness of these swamp dwellers, it's going to be volumes. It's going to be long form. It's going to be volume after volume after volume. It can't be covered in just one little book. Our telephone number is 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. We will go now to Tom in Detroit on the Patriot. Hey, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I watched Ken Burns and Lynn Novick, the documentary on Vietnam, and in September of 1964, Kennedy gave an interview with Walter Cronkite, and at that time there had been 47 Americans that had been killed in Vietnam, and there was also a coup d'etat, and it's clear that Kennedy was forming language to get out of Vietnam. And then that's in the second episode. It's quite a long documentary. It's like 17 hours. But in episode 3, there's the Gulf of Tonkin, the false flag when Johnson was president, and Johnson did. It was clear that Kennedy wanted to get out, from what I can tell.
Well.
Yes, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we're going to put the audience to sleep. Most of them who don't remember, that weren't even around when that was all taking place. But there was, the fact that it was Kennedy who got us in there is not true either. It was Eisenhower, and so now you keep going back and back and back, and pretty soon the audience will be asleep. So. But sometime it'd be fun to sit down and have some, a conversation about that, over some coffee or something to see what we know now versus what we knew then. And I really appreciate the call, Tom, because you point out good points. I don't want to leave 3/4 of the audience out in the dark saying, what the heck are they talking about? But again, I appreciate the call. It's Open Mouth Friday, and under the rules of Open Mouth Friday, you had every I don't want to say right to make that call. You know what I'm trying to say. Here's Kevin and Warren on the Patriot. Hi, Kevin.
Hi there, John. Happy Friday. Nice to talk to you again.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if I could tie a couple quick thoughts together, I'll try to make it coherent and as brief as possible. A couple of weeks ago, you're making reference about the Boy Scouts and how they're under attack, and Girl Scouts are getting diluted. This is all by design. The globalists who want a milquetoast socialist society established, the best way to do it is break down the man, the boy. If I was a robber with X-ray vision, would I want to rob a home with a solid family or a broken family with no man? A stable nation requires stable families. And that's where Trump comes in. Trump is everything everyone in America aspires to be. He has more experience, world experience, than any of the 535 people in the Congress or the Senate and the House. He has world experience, foreign policy experience. He's a negotiator. He is the real deal, and he's phenomenal. And I'm just thrilled and excited about the future. At least the immediate future.
Well, Kevin, I am too. And I am for the economic news from today. It's just astounding how the economy has turned around, how the mood in the country has turned around. And it's leaving the swamp dwellers behind. And they are becoming more and more segregated, if you will, from the rest of society. And I think they know it. And I'm optimistic on all fronts with Donald Trump, and the more they try to get him, the sillier they look. And I think the country's ready for what's about to happen, and what's about to happen is that the swamp is definitely going to get drained. Look next week for another senator to announce that he is not seeking re-election, and that will happen next week, and you remember that you heard it first here. Okay?
Well, it's great talking to you, John. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it very much. You are listening to FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot, WDTK, Salem Broadcasting, Detroit. And I'm being... Okay. Thank you. Photograph. Okay. Appreciate it.
Love the X chair.
So do I. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. Things have changed with Facebook Live. I can no longer see Tiffany. She can't see me unless she pulls up Facebook Live in her studio. So if we seem a little bit confused, well, it's only because we are here on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. Dr. Richard Klein is a specially educated neuromuscular dentist with over 30 years' experience managing TMJ disorders and sleep apnea disorders at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute. And he maintains a website, and it's tmjmichigan.com. There's a reason he maintains that website, and that's because the symptoms of TMJ disorder and sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, are at most times, very elusive. They mimic other ailments. And so when you go to tmjmichigan.com, what you'll see are symptoms of both. And if you see symptoms there that match symptoms of something that's been bothering you, either for a long period of time or a short period of time, all the information is right there at tmjmichigan.com to contact Dr. Richard Klein, set up an evaluation appointment, and get your problem taken care of, or at least find out that that's not what it is, and then he'll direct you to somebody who can take care of what it is. tmjmichigan.com for Dr. Richard Klein at the Michigan Head and Neck Institute, and please let him know John McCulloch sent you.
Now, on-time traffic, news, and weather on The Patriot.
You'll find an accident blocking the left shoulder of the 96 express lanes westbound of Grand River, causing some slowdowns in that area. You'll find another accident blocking the left lane of the 96 Jeffries Freeway westbound at the Davison, causing delays there as well. On 696 eastbound at Coolidge, you'll find an accident blocking the left shoulder. You'll find on 275 northbound after Ann Arbor Road, an accident blocks the right shoulder. Traffic is backed up all the way to Ford Road. You'll find stop-and-go traffic on M59 eastbound between DeQuinder and Van Dyke. Traffic is stop-and-go on 75 northbound between Dearborn and the Ambassador Bridge. And you'll find stop-and-go traffic on 696 westbound between Telegraph and 96. Your weather. Today, showers likely with a high of 59 degrees. Tonight, more showers with a low of 38. Tomorrow, chance of showers with a high of 47. Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 56 degrees. From the townhall.com newsroom, a campaign is underway to raise $100 million at the University of Detroit Mercy to help with financial aid and other programs. The official launch of the effort was Thursday. However, university officials say they had been seeking support for some time and have received 21 gifts of $1 million each. University President Antoine Garibaldi says they hope to improve facilities on campus, including the Student Union, and start a Center for Innovation and a Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. Enrollment at UD Mercy is also increasing with the latest figures, showing a 4% jump in the student population. The U.S. Court of Appeals is reviving a suit against Marathon Detroit Refinery. Yesterday, the court reversed a federal district judge's dismissal of a class action lawsuit last year. Neighbors of the petroleum company are suing over claims its pollution is causing them harm. The Court of Appeals ruled unanimously that a district judge made an error when he ruled that the neighbors couldn't sue because of Michigan's statute of limitations. Traffic and weather updates 4 times an hour and news always online at patriotdetroit.com. I'm Leanna Ray on the Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
For a long time now, I've been talking to you about Felix Cruz and his son Joshua and Cruz Herring and how wonderful my experience has been with them. And I just want you to know that I appreciate the emails and notes and other forms of communication that I've gotten from people who have taken my advice and gone there. And it really warms me inside because I know what a big step it is to do it. And I know what a big step it was for me to do it. But the people around me are pretty much aware now that there's been a change in me, and the change has been for the good, because I'm no longer saying what all the time or excuse me all the time, and I can actually carry on a conversation and actually not answer. I mean, I answer questions that people asked, not what I thought they asked. All these things will happen to you, I think, if you go and at least take that first step. And please be advised that you will not be victimized by a bunch of commissioned salespeople who are going to start pounding on you, as happens at some of the bigger hearing aid companies. It's a small operation, but they're very, very talented. They're very good at what they do, and it's a family organization too. Just take that first step. That's the hardest thing to do. Once you do that, then the rest you'll see. It'll be easy. They have 2 locations to serve you. Joshua's downriver in Taylor, and Felix is in Farmington Hills. Use the same number for both. But do make that phone call. Again, it's hard to do. Do it. 877-456-2789. That's 877-456-CRUISE. 877-456-2789. You'll be so glad you did it. And please let them know John McCulloch sent you.
The John McCulloch Show is brought to you in part by Online Trading Academy.
FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. It is Open Mouth Friday. For those of you just tuning in, we've been at this for a half an hour already because we started early and we're going to be ending early right at 6:30, making room for Catholic high school football pregame, and which we are very happy to do. We're very proud to carry Catholic high school football. So it is Open Mouth Friday, and that means that anything and everything that's on your mind within reason, we'll let you talk about it here on The Patriot. Again, the phone number, 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. If you get a busy signal, be patient. Just keep trying. We'll get you in. Here's Dale in Clinton Township on The Patriot. Hi, Dale.
Hi, John. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
That little blurb at your opening about Yale decolonizing their English department. It never ceases to amaze me how the libs can turn the English language to their schemes. So, colonization's an evil thing, so decolonizing is something good. It's like George Orwell all over again. But it reminded me of something I heard earlier in the week where, and forgive me, I cannot remember her name, but this Hollywood starlet saw a picture of the 5 remaining living presidents got together, and I guess it was a fundraiser for hurricane victims, which was wonderful. But it reminded her 4 years ago that President George H.W. Bush had a photo op. Now here's a guy with Parkinson's disease in a wheelchair, 89 years old or something like that. Again, this is 4 years ago. She waited this long to talk about it. Apparently put his hand on her tushy and made a really bad joke about his favorite magician was David Copperfield. And I guess Barbara was, just mortified. And this lady waits this long to report it, not report it, but get it into the media, and refers to it as a sexual assault. And that's like, really? You really think that?
He's got a reputation for doing that ever since he's been in his wheelchair. And
I guess he figures he can get away with it, eh?
I guess, I don't know, but if you want to include a 94-year-old man brushing up against your fanny as sexual assault, go ahead. If you haven't got anything better to do, then there's your 15 minutes of fame, lady. Go for it. And that's not misogyny. That's just common sense. Dale, thanks for your call. Appreciate it. And have yourself a great weekend. Next up is Sarah in Macomb on the Patriot. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, John. I see that you started early today, and I didn't know, so I didn't turn the channel on until 6 o'clock. So I'm not exactly sure what the whole total subject matter is.
Well, no, it's Open Mouth Friday. It's anything you want.
Okay, anything. Okay, so I'm calling to comment on the gentleman that said, that we have to have strong families and it's good for America. And I totally agree with that. And, I believe that the breakdown of the family unit is what has caused a lot of the problems that we have with, people not respecting law enforcement. I mean, people just aren't raised anymore. They're just, hatched. I don't know what they are. And basically left to fend for themselves in a lot of cases. And there aren't fathers in the home and what have you. And like I said, that's what causes a lot of this. However, I am a dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporter, but Donald Trump is not perfect, and we can't delude ourselves. When the gentleman said he's all about the family, Donald Trump has left a lot of broken homes in his wake. So, he's got a few divorces there. So,
well, yeah, but I'm sure they're all being well taken care of.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they are, but because there's the money to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, money hides a multitude of sins, and I'm all for money too. I'm all for capitalism, but we can't make him to be superhuman either.
No, I don't think anybody's trying to do that. And if you want to take a look at some real moneyed guys with some serious, let's just call them family construction problems, take a look at the NFL. I was reading today where one big star now has 11 children with 10 different women.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
And I'm wondering if there shouldn't be. I don't think there should be a law. I don't think there should be another regulation or something. But shouldn't at some point somebody say something?
I just said that to my brother the other day. I was talking about somebody I knew that had 4 husbands, 6 kids, and I said, at some point, people have to stop breeding. I mean, where is this all going? I mean, to keep getting married and having kids is not the answer to things, especially when you keep failing at it miserably. But that being said, I don't want people to look at Donald Trump too and say he can do no wrong because he's human just like the rest of us.
Yep, and you've said it well, Sarah, and thank you very much for the call. You'd think so, at some point where, like you go to get your marriage license, the 4th one, that somebody would say, maybe you shouldn't do that. Or would you like to reconsider? Or just go ahead and do it without the license. Here's Bill in Plymouth on the Patriot. Hi, Bill. Go ahead.
Did you say Bill from Plymouth?
Bill, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you called me earlier, and I listened to somebody else. Anyway, I don't get to talk to you every night because I'm on the road different times. But do you ever have anybody talking about the Hammer program involving the unmasking that was run supposedly out of the White House, Obama, and a lot of people involved? Because I haven't heard about them for about 4 months. I just wondered if you...
Right now, that's kind of on the back burner, but...
nobody talks about it.
Susan Rice was pretty well involved in that.
Yes, she was. And then it was a surprise when we heard about Samantha Power, and I figured she was part of it. But when I first heard about it, it was way back in April, and one of the guys that talked about it for about 20 minutes one day was one of our well-respected generals, Tom McInerney, Air Force retired lieutenant general. And so I've listened to him for 15 years or so. But like I used to listen to you before you went off the air and went down south and then came back here. So that was a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a while.
Yeah, it was. So anyway, I heard McInerney talking about it in April. I heard him talk about it for a few minutes in May, in June, and then that's the last thing I heard. And then we heard Susan, what's her name?
Rice.
He always handles it off on her to take all the hot stuff. But then Samantha Powers, and then McInerney talked about John Brennan was doing it, was involved in the Hammer, and Clapper was involved. And then I heard that soon after the election, the general that runs NSA, he appeared at Trump Towers, and everybody knew who went up to see him in Trump Towers because I think there was a permanent camera sitting on that, looking at that elevator, and that he went up there, and it was kind of big surprise to Brennan and Clapper, and they wanted him fired. That's what they were talking about. And I guess Obama said, no, keep it quiet. But, we seem to have him now on the dossier on the uranium, and if they ever get going on that, Obama sending Loretta Lynch on about January 3rd, 18 days before he left the White House, to alter that order and open up all this unmasking stuff with the NSA to the other 16 intelligence agencies, so that it's harder to track now because there might be 1,000 people who could be guilty instead of 20 or 30 or 40.
Well, I think that, thanks for the call, Bill. I think, they're going to be selective in what comes out, but it's there's a lot of it that's going to come out. I'm convinced of it. As the major players start having to involve some of the minor players, which we would consider Samantha Power and some of those others, to kind of divert attention away from them. I think the swamp is on its way to being drained. I really do. And I think there's quite a few people out there who are circling that drain even as we speak, and they know it. Again, thanks very much for the call. 800-923-9385. That's 800-923-WDTK. Time to take a few more calls before we're out of here at 6:30 here on the McCulloch Show on FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. The market is a difficult thing to understand, and it's amazing because the market can really only do three things. An online trading academy teaches you how to use those three things to make money on the stock market, whether it goes up or down. That's their goal. And they have a very impressive list of professional traders who contract with Online Trading Academy and come in and, this is what they do for a living. That's how they make their money, is in the actual doing it. But to teach it, they contract with Online Trading Academy. They come in and teach you, if you're a student there, how to do it, how to do what they do. So why don't you do what I did? And by the way, Online Trading Academy is a permanent campus in Southfield. They got 40 of them around the world, and Southfield is one of them. And do what I did, if you will, and attend a free 3-hour power trading workshop on investment and on trading, and find out how the professionals do it and make money, whether the market is going up or going down. I can't think of time that you could spend better. Here's a number to call to reserve your spot, and again, it's free. 844-250-8723. That's 844-250-8723, or just go to the John McCulloch page at patriotdetroit.com, and you'll find the number there. It'll just link you directly to it. 844-250-8723 for Online Trading Academy, and please let them know John McCulloch sent you.
Now, on-time traffic and weather on the Patriot.
Watch out for an accident blocking the right shoulder of 75 southbound at McNichols. It's causing some delays in that area. You'll find slowdowns on 696 eastbound at Coolidge. An accident blocks the left shoulder there as well. You'll find an accident on the 96 express lanes westbound after Grand River. It blocks the left lane. Traffic is stop and go from the Davison as a result. You'll find 96 eastbound at Grand River has an accident causing stop and go traffic from 52. You'll find traffic is stop and go on 75 northbound between Square Lake Road and Baldwin Road. You'll find stop and go traffic on 696 westbound between Telegraph and 96. And you'll find on 696 eastbound between 75 and Cousins, road construction has the left lane closed. Traffic is stop and go from Greenfield Road. Your weather. Today, showers likely with a high of 56 degrees. Tonight, more showers with the low of 38. Tomorrow, chance of showers with the high of 47. Right now, it is mostly cloudy and 53 degrees. I'm Leanna Ray for The Patriot, FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
Dr. James Gregg is a chiropractor, and he's a very good chiropractor, and he does something that I think is marvelous, and it works extremely well for him, and it works extremely well for patients, and especially new patients. Dr. Gregg has been doing this for over 40 years, And one of the things that he does that I just so admire is he has a thing it's called the Doctor's Report. He does it on Monday in Troy and on Wednesday in Garden City at his offices at 6 o'clock. And that's where he sits down with interested people and explains chiropractic to them. And it's a very interesting explanation. You'll enjoy it. But then the important thing is he opens up the floor for questions. And you can ask any questions you want, questions you might think would embarrass him, questions about rumors you've heard about chiropractic or about things that maybe have kept you from trying chiropractic for pain that you may have, that you have decided not to do it for whatever reason, and he answers those questions. He welcomes those questions. It's a great session, and it's for patients and non-patients alike, and you can bring friends for some moral support if you want. But if you want to find out about chiropractic and what it can do for you, this would be the way to do it. Get it from the horse's mouth. After all, it's your pain. Why don't you go find out? 734-525-8422 for either location. Let them know you're coming. 734-525-8422 for Dr. James Gregg at Gregg Chiropractic Life Centers. And please let them know John McCulloch sent you.
The John McCulloch Show is brought to you in part by Cruise Hearing Aid Services.
FM 101.5 and AM 1400, The Patriot. Ray and Westland, you're next. Thanks for hanging on, Ray. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jen. In those Kennedy files that come out, it states that Harry Truman had a large hand. And what happened, John? It was Truman.
The next time he calls, question him. Ask him 2 questions. Whatever question it is you ask him that, and then ask him if he's sane. So we can end that. Here's Dean in Rochester Hills on the Patriot. Hi, Dean. Dean, are you there? All right, we'll give Dean a chance. We'll make him stand in the corner. Maybe put the phone down for a minute and check and see if you can find him there, Tiffany, and then we'll move on from there. Let's go to John in Novi on the Patriot. Hi, John.
Hi, John. Am I on?
You are.
Well, boy, I'm glad I didn't make the biggest fool of myself tonight. I left that to the Truman caller. Now, some things are just so absurd, you know. You hate to have people like that in your camp. But anyway, I was going to say, I was going to comment on ask for some speculation, unless you have already. I didn't catch all of your show. But it's a great show as usual. And again, thanks for taking my call. But, you know, what's the motivation behind, you know, not releasing all the information? Unless it's at this time, you know, it's out to protect the image of the FBI and the CIA at a time when they're both under a scrutiny because of the recent Happy Horse stuff that's going on.
You know, that could be, John.
What are they waiting for? Everybody, you know.
Are you talking about the Kennedy stuff or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Kennedy stuff, and then in relation to why they don't release it all.
There may be, and this is just conjecture on my part. There may be some pictures, autopsy pictures, things that.
Oh, okay.
That might be just because they're still living members of the family who might find that. It just might not be fair to the family. That's the only thing I can think of. That there would be, or descriptions of something that just might be just too, let's face it, gross for public consumption or for at least family member consumption. I don't know. There's no secrets in there. I wouldn't think. But that would be my explanation for it.
And even though it's been
50 years,
better than 50 years, you know what? For those of us that were alive at the time, it's still painful.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
my girlfriend cries about it. She was alive, a little bit older than I was at the time, and just at the mention of the Kennedy assassination, because I think for a lot of us, that was the great divide in the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party used to stand for the working man, but the operative word was working man rather than, the party of free handouts, which they eventually evolved into.
Yeah, they sure did. John, appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Dean in Rochester Hills, you're next. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me this time?
I can indeed.
All right. I'm calling in regards to a call you received yesterday. I think it was your show, where instead of calling them snowflakes, call them mushrooms.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's an appropriate label, because they keep you in the dark, they feed you manure, they have nothing but mush for brains, and all of them are clones. So why would you call them a beautiful thing like a snowflake?
Dean, you've laid it out, and between you and the person who had the original idea, we may be onto something.
So what would you do with an extra $500 a month in your budget? $500. This isn't hypothetical, by the way. This is something you may need to think about very soon if you decide to become a member of MediShare. MediShare is a way to pay for your health care, and typically it costs $500 less per month for a family versus other health care plans. So seriously, think about this. You could pay off loans, pay down a mortgage, save the money for retirement, donate to charity. That would be a big deal. But you know what? Here's the best thing. MediShare works. It has 250,000 members, and it's growing fast. With MediShare, not only do you save, you don't have to pay for things you don't believe in either, and that is a beautiful thing too. So here's how you can find out more, and you might actually wind up saving even more than $500 a month. So check into it. Here's the number. Call 855-94-BIBLE. That's 855-94-BIBLE. Now available in Montana. Call 855-94-BIBLE.
I'll tell you, folks, this X chair that I'm sitting in is absolutely incredible, and the deal that you're going to get is really incredible, too. Go to xchair.com. That's xchair.com, and use the promo code John, and you're going to get $100 off the price, and you'll also get a free footrest thrown in. I love my X chair. I think you're going to love yours too. myxchair.com, promo code John, and get yourself sitting on an X chair. You'll be amazed at what it does for you and other people at the office. Rocco in Birmingham, you're next on the Patriot. Go ahead.
Hey, John. It's just crazy times right now, but what I found is that from my time in D.C., whatever you think is the most deviant way to go, that's where the leftists are going. And I don't think that they held up the Kennedy pictures or the Kennedy files for any kind of pictures. When they hold that up, it's because it's really going to hurt them. And I think we're going to find out things about the Kennedy assassination that the intelligence community, the FBI, I don't know who, but somebody within government is going to get hurt bad. And they're already in a bad way. And it's scary, too.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Rocco. You're saying that it's going to reveal that we were lied to?
I think we were lied to, most definitely. That's why they're holding up all those papers.
Okay, I can't comment on it now because I'm out of time, but I don't think that's the case. We'll see. Tiffany Little, our studio technician for this evening. This program is produced by Steve Deely. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. Thank you for texting. Thank you for watching. And just in general, thank you. I'm John McCulloch, and until we talk again Monday afternoon at 6, please have as good a weekend as you can.
The John McCulloch Show is sponsored in part by Dr. Richard Klein of Michigan Head and Neck, Greg Chiropractic Life Center, Azer Tech Public Adjusters, Cruise Hearing Aid Centers, and Online Trading Academy on the new FM 101.5 and AM 1400.
This is really annoying. It keeps saying, how we're having technical difficulties.
The Patriot.
This is Michael Medved for townhall.com. A group of students at University of Wisconsin used the recent Indigenous Peoples Day to try to discredit Abraham Lincoln. They covered a monumental statue of the 16th president with derisive signs and staged a die-in in front of it. Let's be real, said a protest leader. He owned slaves and ordered the execution of Native men. Well, actually, he stopped the execution of Native men. In December 1862, after military tribunals convicted 303 Sioux warriors of rape and murder for slaughtering more than 800 Minnesota civilians, Lincoln commuted sentences of 264 of them. He allowed punishment only for those who had brutalized non-combatants, not the fighters who killed 77 U.S. soldiers in the midst of the Civil War. And as to the charge that Lincoln owned slaves, he never did. And from boyhood always hated the evil institution. It's also evil, by the way, for America-hating activists to deploy false, ignorant charges to tarnish the legacy of our greatest president. I'm Michael Midday.
The Patriot, FM 101.5, AM 1400, WDTK, Detroit. The Salem Media Group, on the NASDAQ as SALM.